Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Confused in the Relationship subreddit. The post is titled, "So many red flags you could see them from space. Desperate for help. I met my boyfriend while I was on holiday 3 months ago. The intensity of the feelings convinced me it was love at first sight. He was full of grand proclamations of undying love, saying I am his everything and that I'm his reason for living. He said I'm his soulmate, that he wants to marry me, have children, the works. He would preach about me to anyone who would listen, including his mom, telling her that he had met the one. After returning from holiday and 2 months of talking constantly, he lost his job and convinced me to give up everything to move to his country because he needs me. With plans to relax, get to know each other, save some money, and travel the world, it sounded like an exciting adventure. I was in a dead-end job and not particularly happy with how my life was panning out, so it seemed like a win-win situation. I realized that this in itself is a red flag valley, but he really seemed so different. Everyone loves him because he has such a charismatic and happy personality. He comes across as intelligent and pure. At least, that's what I thought until I arrived here 4 weeks ago. On day 3, he convinced me to get hair extensions because he likes long hair. He doesn't tell me what to wear, but he makes me feel uncomfortable if I wear something he doesn't like. He's suddenly decided I'm too pale and need to spend an hour in the sun every day. When we have sex, he can be a bit too rough. I tell him if he's hurting me, but instead of stopping, he just makes me feel abnormal by saying things like, "Girls usually like it when I do it like this, and you just need to relax and then you'll enjoy it." He broached the topic of anal sex and got angry when I said I didn't want to do it. He said, "You know how important it is to me," which came as a surprise because I've always said I didn't want to do it from day 1. I got thrush after a week. He told me the symptoms were in my brain and that I needed to cure it with positive thinking. He freaked out, saying he'd never had anything like this before. I tried explaining to him that it was nothing to worry about, but he wasn't having any of it. The next day, he made me go to the hospital. I felt incredibly anxious because I don't speak the language of this country, and he was speaking to the doctor in his language. I had no idea what was going on. The doctor gestured for me to take off my underwear, and I was just crying from feeling so humiliated. Thrush confirmed, medication given. You would think that would be enough, right? No. 1 day later, still a bit irritated down there, he marched me to a different doctor who, perplexed, rightly told him we needed to give the medication time. Still not enough. He called his mother, who told him it's normal and that he should apologize to me. Yet after all this, every time we have any kind of discussion, he brings it up again, telling me I am not normal. He keeps wanting to inspect me. It's humiliating. He pulls me apart to have a thorough look and then tells me he won't have sex with me because I'm too dry, too red, not normal. He says that no girl he has ever been with has had thrush and that it's a problem with me. He's made me a gynecological appointment at the hospital against my will because he wants me to get help for my fungal problem. I can't describe how dirty he is making me feel because of this. I still feel incredibly ashamed and scared that I'm not normal. He made me tell him everything about myself and my past because he wanted to feel close to me, but it feels like he is just using it against me. I told him about how I had body dysmorphia as a teenager and how I would stand in front of the mirror analyzing and belittling myself. Then suddenly, one evening, he made me stand in front of the mirror naked and wouldn't let me leave the room until I looked into my eyes in the mirror and said, "I love you." I had to do it until he felt that I meant it. He wants me to use the toilet with him there. The first time he brought it up, I told him I felt too uncomfortable to do it, but he got offended that I wasn't comfortable around him, so he wouldn't leave the bathroom until I did it. He criticizes my posture. When we walk to the supermarket, he lightly hits my upper back every time I slouch to remind me to stand up straight. I wore flip-flops one time and we were walking up a steep hill, so obviously they made a bit of noise. He looked at me in disgust, asking why I was stomping like a child and why I couldn't walk properly. We never go out unless we are going to the supermarket or the gym. I feel like I'm getting cabin fever. Whenever I mention exploring because it's a new country and I haven't seen anything, he makes me feel bad. He says that he didn't think I was so materialistic and didn't realize I needed things to make me happy. He says his company should be enough for me. A week ago, at random, he wanted to know why I haven't been fulfilling my womanly duties. please. It turns out he expects a woman to get up hours before him in the morning, clean, do laundry, prepare his breakfast, and then wake him up when it's ready. I was really shocked at this and told him I don't agree with gender roles and that it should be 50-50. He looked at me like I'm some kind of alien. But it's what a woman does. You're a woman, it's normal. You should want to do it, and you should do it smiling and with love. He said all of his exes did it without question, making me feel like I'm not a real woman and that I'm abnormal for thinking otherwise. A week ago, he decided I was losing weight and has started to make me go to the gym. He says he wants me to have big legs and a big bum like the women from his native country and is making me eat sickening amounts to achieve this. In fact, the other day, he made me eat a ridiculous portion of pasta. I felt like I was going to be sick, but he said, just look into my eyes and eat. Don't think about it, and made me eat it all. He's now decided I'm not allowed to eat maya and no sugar. This week, I got a common cold, and once again, he marched me to the hospital. That's right, hospital for a cold. He's decided that I'm a very sickly person with a lot of problems and looks at me like a basket case. He says I'm not normal. He claims I make myself ill with negative thinking. Now, would probably be a good time to mention that he thinks people die from cancer unnecessarily because they could cure themselves with their minds. Prior to the move, he told me he smoked pot, which I didn't like, but he assured me it was only when he wanted to meditate and think deeply about life. Turns out that's nearly every day. He keeps pressuring me into smoking with him even though I don't want to. He inhales it himself and then exhales the smoke into my mouth to make sure I do it properly. A week ago, during one of these pot-induced meditations, he suddenly sat upright and told me he realizes he can't promise me forever. He said he realized that he was lost when he met me, but now he is found. Disturbingly, he has said that he has found himself a few times now. When I tried questioning him about this, he said I am trying to play games with his head. He's decided he wants children in 6 months. I asked, what about the traveling? And he replied, I don't care about that anymore, I just want my family now. Though, according to him, we both need to have a DNA test prior to conceiving to check that we are compatible. Recently, he dropped the bombshell that he doesn't trust me and never has. In his words, I think you're going to cheat on me every second. I have never given him any reason not to trust me. I'm an incredibly loyal person. I've been cheated on in the past and couldn't do that to anyone. He started saying he thinks I've only moved to the country because I had another man there. He said he never had this trust issue with any other girlfriend and therefore thinks he hasn't got trust issues in general, it's just a problem with me. He started telling me he's noticed a man following us and he's convinced this man wants me. That night he came into the bedroom with a hammer and locked the door, saying, you never know who could get in. He's gotten really funny about me using my phone. He doesn't understand why I want to talk to my family so much because, according to him, he is my family now. I feel like I have to hide in the bathroom to text my family or do it with him watching me to avoid arguments. He demanded to see my phone one time, completely out of the blue. I was defensive and said no, even though I had nothing to hide. I wish I had just given it to him then. The angry look in his eyes scared me. I had never seen anything like it. He kept shouting, get out. I was crying because it was dark and I didn't know where I'd go. Don't care, get out. It wasn't until I broke down in tears and started shaking from the fear of being out on the streets in a foreign country that he changed in the blink of an eye and started stroking my hair, telling me everything would be okay. He said that he's going to start implementing a point system so that when I do things wrong, I'll lose points. He says I'm not learning from my mistakes and this is the only way he knows how to show me when I do something wrong. He also said he's going to put tests in my way and it's up to me whether I pass them and show him I'm trustworthy or run into the trap like a rat. He says that in order for him to trust me, I need to do everything he says without question, that he and I need to be one. He said for this relationship to work, I need to be his shadow. He says that I have a lot of problems and that I'm too negative and argue too much. He suggested putting up cameras around the apartment so, and I quote, you can watch how you behave, which I find insensitive considering he knows my issues and knows I hate having pictures and videos taken. The problem is, I really don't think I am negative. Sure, I have become anxious and negative because of all of the things that have happened, but I really didn't think my problems were anything abnormal. It drives me crazy when he says we have arguments because I haven't shouted once. I only ever try to calmly question why he says or does something horrible or contradictory, and that is his definition of me being argumentative. He says a hell of a lot of contradictory things, and anytime I question his behavior or just try to resolve a disagreement in an adult healthy way, he tells me I am a dramatic girl. When I get upset about things he said, he gets upset too, saying that he would never say anything to hurt me. Everything he says is meant to help me because he just wants me to believe in myself and love myself. There's more, but this is already way too long. I'm really sorry, I'm just going out of my mind. The way he is in public versus behind closed doors is polar opposite, and he's convinced me that I am the one making him act this way. He's made me feel like I'm abnormal in so many ways that it's making me question everything about myself, and I'm starting to wonder if it is all my fault and if I am abnormal. I've made a big move. All I wanted is support and patience while I settle in, but I don't feel like he has any patience or empathy at all. Please give me some outsider perspective on this. I feel like I'm going crazy. User SJL Wood said, "Do not have sex with this man. The last thing you want is to get pregnant. Holy cow, this is scary. You need to go home. Are you able to book a flight? Can you leave while he's at work?" User Blue Jay Way said, "Girl, he is extremely emotionally abusive and sexually abusive. This is literally a list of emotionally abusive traits and events. Forcing you to pee in front of him, being rough with you and guilting you when you ask him to stop, guilting you into sexual activities you don't want to do, and examining your vagina without your consent would also classify as sexual abuse. I was emotionally and sexually abused for 2 years, and I was convinced it was all my fault. He made me feel crazy, like I was imagining things, or like I was the one doing something wrong. Finally, I realized that if someone treats me that way, then they don't love, care about, or understand me. You need to go home. This abuse will only get worse. He sounds unstable. Do whatever it takes to get home. If you have family and friends back home, tell them everything that is happening and see if they can help you in any way. Do not discuss it with him. Do not give him an ultimatum. Do not think he'll change because he never will. He'll only get worse. Leave suddenly and cut contact. If he's always around, try to find an excuse to go somewhere and leave then. This is a very dangerous situation. Get out." User Gravity Line said, "You've described a really terrifying person. I am worried for your safety. You need to get out of there. Don't tell him where you're going and don't give him any means of keeping in touch with you." Update. So he came home last night and I pretended to be asleep. I didn't know what else to do. I felt paralyzed. Then, very early this morning, he was looking at me suspiciously, telling me I seemed very nervous, which made me feel even more unnerved because I wondered if he knew what was going on. I was shaking and he asked, "Why are you being like this? It's like you think I'm going to hit you or something." That triggered something in me. I thought, this is it. I'm trapped. And I broke down crying, leading him to storm into the bedroom and slam the door. But then a little while later, he opened the door and asked me to come in. His mood had done a complete 180 and he was almost too calm, possibly even sad. Out of the blue, he said we couldn't go on like this anymore. He said I'm crying all the time, too negative and discussing too much. He said that he realized 2 days ago in a meditation that it isn't our destiny to be together. He said I'm not the person he had created in his mind when he met me. His exact words were, "I created an angel and then you opened your mouth." He said he's losing more patience with me every second and that even though I've done a lot for him, it's not enough because he says he loves himself and is happy all the time. He needs someone who is the same as well as a real woman. He said his brain is crazy around me and he can't deal with it anymore. His parting words were, "Believe in yourself, love yourself." I found myself getting more upset and more confused, but instead of following my inclination to bargain with him, I tried to remember the things I had read here and played along just in case this was some kind of test or manipulative behavior. I packed as quickly as I could, though it was in a daze, so I'm pretty sure I've left things behind. The whole time I was packing, he stayed sitting on the bed, just staring at the wall in the same position, not moving once, and then I left. No fight, no struggle, no words, nothing. I felt paranoid waiting for something to happen, for him to react, I don't know, for some kind of trap, but no, I simply walked away. I was thinking all night about which exit strategy to use, but he made it so easy. He, in essence, was the one to let me go. I'm not complaining, but Jesus, has it confused me all the more. My mom knows everything. She's absolutely mortified, but just wants to get me home. She has booked me on a flight back to England for this evening and stayed with me on the phone while I found a taxi to get me to the airport. I have a long time to wait, but my mom said she'd rather know that I'm at an airport surrounded by people than being anywhere near him. So I thought I'd use this opportunity to update you all because you've all been so supportive. I'm really overwhelmed by all the messages and advice. I wasn't expecting it. Really, thank you for your kindness. Right now, I am just sitting in the airport, shell-shocked, wondering what the hell just happened. I read my original post again, and no, I haven't exaggerated a thing. Everything happened exactly as I said. Actually, more than those 26 things happened. If anything, I omitted details in an attempt to keep the post short, but the way he acted this morning wasn't what I was expecting, and from reading your replies, it's not what you were expecting either, so it has completely thrown me off guard. Honestly, I feel almost ashamed to tell you all what happened in case you also find it odd and question me, like I am questioning myself right now. I know it doesn't excuse everything he has done, but does it give you a different perspective on things? Does this say more about me than it does about him? Or is it manipulation to put the blame on me? I know he cannot bear the thought of anyone thinking badly of him. He wants to be idolized too much. Maybe it's from speaking to his friend. Or maybe I really am at fault and have been all along because I keep thinking that if he is that controlling, then why wouldn't he try to keep me there? Unless he realized he couldn't control me the way he expected. Please don't shoot me down for saying these things. I don't know. I don't understand the way this has panned out, and I'm desperately trying to make sense of it. I feel like a TV crew is going to walk out at any moment and tell me this has all been some kind of sick joke. I'm not purposefully trying to sound like a naive idiot, I'm just finding it extremely hard to think logically or think at all for that matter. I mean, his last words to me were that he wants me to believe in myself and love myself for Christ's sake. I feel so confused and ashamed. My brain has whiplash from being on the roller coaster of his multifaceted personality and feels even more scrambled right now. Nothing is really sinking in. This next post was made in the AITAH subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "Would I be the jerk for divorcing my wife after she cheated after her parents died?" About a month ago, my wife's parents both died in a car crash. She has been an emotional mess. We live in her hometown, so we have been seeing her family and friends often. I've been supportive in any way I can. I've taken care of all the house chores, and I've been there for her every day. Here's where things get messy. She has an ex. Let's call him Luke. Luke is not just her ex, he is still friends with her and was her first love. They were high school sweethearts, and Luke was almost like another child to her parents. The death of her parents affected Luke a lot too. Honestly, I didn't initially like the fact that they were friends, but I trust my wife and moved on from that feeling. A few days ago, my wife said she was going to go out with her family. I told her I could go with her, but she insisted on going alone. She didn't come back until the next morning. I tried to call her and call her family members, but no one knew where she was. When she did come back, she was a mess. I asked her where she had been all night. She told me she messed up so much. I tried to calm her down and told her to just tell me what happened and that it's okay. She can talk to me. She said she slept with Luke. I didn't react much. I told her I needed some time to think. She has apologized so many times now. I did eventually ask her what happened. She said she met up with Luke and they were both messes. They reminisced about her parents, which led to them remembering their relationship. They were both drinking and it just happened. I'm so conflicted right now. My wife is probably going through the worst time in her life, but I don't think I want to be with her now. I'm furious at her. User Open Incident said, "I lost 3 family members, including both parents, very close together. It was absolute rock bottom grief. I did not betray my marriage vows. She left you at home because she wanted to be with Luke. You'll never not know that she chose him in her lowest moment. Not the asshole." User Haunting Juice said, "Not the asshole. There are a lot of accidents that can occur when grieving. Taking up smoking or drinking as vices to combat pain is one thing, but falling on an ex's dick is not one of them." User Shammy Dammy said, "She's chosen who she wants to have support her through this, and it's not you, not the asshole." To this, a deleted user said, "She was at her lowest and she chose someone else's penis over her husband's. She knew what she was doing when she lied about going out with family. She knew what she was doing when she met with Luke. She knew what she was doing when she ignored her husband's calls. She knew she was going to cheat and sleep with that guy. That wasn't a mistake. That involved many decisions to make, lies to tell, and one person to hurt, her husband, who was standing there being her rock. I'm so sorry, OP. You didn't and don't deserve this. I would treasure such a man with all my heart, and I know that there are more women like that. Unfortunately, that's not your wife. For better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health. You stuck to that. Do you want someone who couldn't? Update. These past few months have been a very turbulent time for me. I actually forgot I posted this. I do thank you all for your support. We are getting divorced. Shortly after my post, I moved out of our place. My wife has messaged and called saying she's sorry for sleeping with Luke and promising she would never see him again and that she would never do this again. Part of me does believe she's being honest, but it doesn't matter. I look at her and all I feel is pain in my chest. Even if I were to forgive her, every time I see her face, I just want to yell at her. I had to hold myself back from calling her a f***ing whore and telling her I f***ing knew her relationship with Luke was going to be an issue. Still, I haven't done that. I figured staying calm and classy is the best way for the divorce to go my way. We're still going through all the proceedings. She's been dragging this on. I don't know. I can't really say I'm happy or at peace, but I'm moving forward, or at least trying to. Honestly, not much to say. This last post was made in the relationship advice subreddit by a user named Sewing Season. The post is titled, "Ex-wife married my best friend. It's killing me and destroyed my marriage. I have been with my wife for 5 years and married for 4 years. We have 3 kids from her previous relationships. I really love her and her kids. Things were perfect until 3 or 4 months ago. I've had 3 big promotions in 5 years. We bought a house last year. She stays home with the kids and is trying to make a social media career happen. I have always been on the fence about having more kids, but she really wanted us to have one together, so I agreed to try to have my vasectomy reversed. She is 7 months pregnant now. We were so incredibly happy. My ex-wife divorced me in 2019 and moved about 2 hours away a few months into the pandemic. Our divorce was amicable, but once it was finalized, I never heard from her again, even when I would wish her well on birthdays and holidays. I even sent her a graduation gift when I heard that she finished her PhD program. Other people in our social circle, including my parents and sister-in-law who sent her a gift, received handwritten thank you cards. I didn't get so much as a text. My ex-wife is a really kind and thoughtful person, and the woman I knew would have at least sent a thank you text if her worst enemy sent her a gift. Even though we broke up, I didn't think she hated me. My best friend and I have been best friends since college. He's the best person I know, and at least 10 people think he's their best friend, but he said that I was always his best friend. We kind of lost touch during the pandemic. We live 2 hours apart, and he is a lawyer who teaches classes at a university, so he is really busy. I have a really busy career and a new wife with 3 kids. I didn't really realize that the texts between us were fewer and that the last time he finally replied to me was in late 2021. He also tends to fall off the face of the earth when he gets involved with a new girlfriend. And then when things cool off, we all hear from him more. We have always been the kind of friends who could go an extended period of time without communicating and then pick up right where we left off. I kept saying that I would eventually call him when things were less busy. My wife and I visited the city where he and my ex-wife live last summer for a week, and I tried calling him a couple of times to meet up, but he never answered. I was sad, but just figured he was busy with work or obsessed with a new girlfriend. I have other friends there, so I got to see them. Then I went to the city again by myself in October for a Halloween party. I figured he'd be at this party, and I was excited that I'd get to see him then. He was there. When I went to say hi and hug him, he looked a little surprised and gave me a weak hug. I told him that I was there during the summer and that I tried calling him so we could hang out. He just said, "Yeah, I was on my honeymoon that week. Sorry, I didn't get back to you." I was really shocked to hear that he'd gotten married and a little hurt that my best friend got married without me even knowing he had a serious girlfriend, but still happy for him. Like I said, he was a great guy and girls love him. I spit out a rush of questions. Who is she? Where is she? What's her name? What's she like? Where did you meet her? How long have you been together? He paused for a moment and then bluntly said, "It's X." My ex-wife doesn't have a unique name or anything, but it isn't the most common name either. Instantly, I knew that it was her. I can't describe how it felt to hear those 2 words come out of his mouth. I felt sick to my stomach and I immediately wanted to die. I've never felt like that before. I just said, "What the fuck?" He told me that I didn't get to be mad because I broke her heart, and they didn't start dating until 2 years after we got divorced, and that I chose to be with some waitress anyway. I drank the rest of the weekend because it was the only way I was able to sleep. I feel betrayed by both of them. My best friend since I was 20 years old married my ex-wife behind my back. I was married to her for 6 years and they were never even friends, and now they are in love with each other. I also found out that he talked badly about my current wife and me behind my back and never liked her. I went back home and I know that I was distant with my wife and the kids because I was just hurting so much. After a couple of weeks, we had a big fight and she called me out on being distant and accused me of cheating. I finally came clean and told her about my ex and my best friend, which she scoffed at and said she'd known about them for a long time now because of social media. I flew into a rage and we fought for hours. She betrayed me by not telling me the entire time she knew. She didn't say anything when I mentioned my best friend not returning my calls or messages. I didn't get to sleep before going to work, and after work, I just stayed with my parents for a few days. When I finally went back home, we got into another fight where she accused me of still being in love with my ex and said that I wouldn't care if I wasn't. I called her stupid and said that she wouldn't understand because she doesn't have any friends. I wouldn't care if my ex-wife got married to anyone else if it wasn't my best friend. I don't see what is so hard to understand about that. We made up eventually, but I feel sick to my stomach every day, and things aren't the same in our relationship. I love my wife, but I've come to realize it's not the same way I loved my ex-wife. My wife doesn't love me the same way my ex-wife did either. I have started to regret the things that led to our divorce because we were really happy until the moment she left me. I don't even have my best friend to call because he's too busy being with my ex-wife to care about me anymore. Everything feels empty and like a lie now. A lot of friends agree that they both betrayed me but think I need to move on. Even my dad and brother told me to get over it. My sister-in-law yelled at me and my mom tries to comfort me, but I know she's tired of hearing about my problems. I have to pretend I'm okay, but I'm not. No one gives a shit about mental health when it comes to men. I brought up couples therapy to my wife, but she said that she thinks we are okay since we worked through things. I guess I have to pretend for the rest of my life now because divorce is not on the table. I need advice on what to do and how to get closure. I am thinking of driving to their city to just show up and force them to talk to me so I can move on. Is that too much to ask? How do I get my wife to see that it is hard to trust her after knowing she kept a big secret from me for a long time? Update: the overwhelming consensus here is that I am a piece of shit, which is true. The other consensus is that I need therapy. I asked my brother to help me, but neither of us even knows where to begin to find a therapist. He said he would ask his wife to help us, and she texted me this morning and said she was only helping because of my brother. I guess that's fair. User Dalton402 said, "The timelines are making me think something big is missing here. It's 2024. You've been with your wife for 5 years and your ex divorced you in 2019, which is 5 years ago. I have to ask, did you cheat on your ex with your wife? It is February, so I imagine there is an overlap between you being in a relationship with your wife and your ex divorcing you. Your ex ignoring you and your best friend being standoffish while telling you that you broke her heart screams that you cheated. Your wife accusing you of cheating shows that she knows she married a cheater who is still obsessed with his ex-wife. I really don't know what you expect. You created this mess, so live with it." A deleted user said, "Advice on what to do. Get some therapy. You made your bed, so don't complain that it isn't comfy enough. You are not the victim here. You cheated while married to your ex, so what she does now is absolutely none of your business. Your ex-best friend probably lost respect for you once you broke your ex-wife's heart. Have fun getting a restraining order issued against you if you do show up and try to force either of them to talk to you." User Then I Get a Chip which said, "You traded in your high-achieving ex-wife who loved you for a younger model who aspires to be a social media star and is living off your salary. Live with your own choices. You don't really get to be upset about the choices your ex made after that." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.